Okay, there we go. Happy Thursday, Lang Gang. I did want to show off my great animal print shirt. See, it's like a cat shirt. It's got cats all over it. And I'm really proud
Nice.
of it to celebrate the Spirit Week, Alex, what's our last day? I'm blanking.
Oh, it's show your school spirit. So like wear Agua Fria stuff or red.
Yes. Okay, Agua Fria Owls come together tomorrow morning. Everyone wear red. Maybe I still have my little spirit headband too, I think. So, we'll come all decked out tomorrow, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen now that I've shown off my great shirt. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of walk through. What I'd like to do today is sort of a combination of reviewing the work that you did yesterday, because obviously the analysis of the text is essential for being able to write out a paragraph that analyzes the text. So since we only did like the first 2 paragraphs together, I want to go through the rest of the text to make sure you don't have any questions about it. I had a few students email me that it was kind of challenging at certain parts to really understand what was going on. So we're going to walk through that, and then I will guide you through today's assignment, which is writing the actual paragraphs. The first thing I want to say, though, is as you reopen your document from yesterday, just don't unsubmit it. We want to make sure you keep it submitted. You should be able to still view all the work that you did yesterday since you typed it into the document. So just don't unsubmit. You shouldn't need to edit anything. Don't worry about that. It's just, this is like the completion work to help you with your paragraph today. So even if you made any mistakes or anything, there's no need to add it on this document. You can like add any notes or new ideas to today's work in your paragraph below. Okay. So again, you're going to open up that document, not unsubmit it. You're just using it as reference to write your analysis today. Before we get going, I do want to just really clarify to you that you're writing 2 paragraphs only. So an intro paragraph, which summarizes the whole text, and then 1 body paragraph. So I did say your first body paragraph, but technically I don't really care if you want to do your middle body paragraph or your last body paragraph, depending on which part of the text you want to talk about. I just want 1 intro and 1 body paragraph, but you will need to copy and paste it into turnitin.com, and that's just for the plagiarism checker that's going on today. So you'll type it here initially, and then copy and paste. Okay. Any questions about just kind of the general thing we're doing today? Or I keep rolling? Okie dokie, then let's go ahead and go back into the text from yesterday. There was one thing I wanted to kind of reiterate from the prompt, which I actually don't feel like I talked about yesterday when we initially went over it. And you might have noticed once you got to the end of the speech that this isn't the full speech. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
This is just, and it clarifies this in the prompt too if we look at it, this is just the introduction of the speech. So this whole thing where she's gonna go on to criticize, so in the speech, Luce went on to criticize the tendency of the American press to sacrifice journalistic integrity in favor of the perceived public demand for sensationalist stories. She hasn't really started her criticism yet. So you might have noticed that in the speech. So we said that was the purpose, but really her purpose was just the introduction to that, because we only have the introduction here. And then we know that, you know, this is the beginning of the speech, and then later on she goes on to criticize. So when you're doing your analysis today and we're thinking about her overall purpose, the purpose of the overall speech might be to criticize them, but the purpose of this introduction was not to criticize them. So make sure you don't say that that's the purpose, since we're not really looking at that part of the speech yet. Okay, so where we left off yesterday was, again, she was kind of setting them up with this whole, sorry, I deleted my notes from yesterday, but she was setting them up with this whole idea that this is going to be a hard task for her to do, for her to like throw rocks at these journalists and tell them what's wrong with her. So she was kind of like bonding with them and letting them know her feelings of sort of hesitation here. So then we'll go ahead and take a look at these other parts of the speech. So now she starts focusing on less of herself and more of the audience in this part. If you guys want to follow along with me here, this sort of third paragraph. So she says, but you are an audience of journalists. There is no audience anywhere who should be more bored, indeed more revolted by a speaker who tried to fawn on it, butter it up, exaggerate its virtues, play down its faults, would more quickly see through any attempt to do so. I ask you only to remember that I am not a volunteer for this subject tonight. You asked for it. Okay. So again, here she's sort of reminding them, right? Like she was invited here. She's a little nervous. But before she does that, what is she telling the audience about journalists? What do journalists have the ability to do that maybe not all other regular people have the ability to do? What do you guys
Tell the truth.
Yeah, tell the truth. And not only just tell it, but when someone's talking to them, what can they do?
Like lies.
What's up?
See through lies.
Yeah, absolutely, Javi. Hey, good to see you. I don't like your hat though, but it's great to see you. Okay, so she's already telling them and kind of like praising them for their ability, like they more than anybody else can see through lies and see through the truth. As we go on to the next part of the text, okay, then she's asking about good journalism. So this is a really important part of the introduction here. So what is good journalism all about? On a working finite level, it is the effort to achieve illuminating candor in print and to strip away cant. It is the effort to do this not only in matters of state, diplomacy, and politics, but also in every smaller aspect of life that touches the public interest or engages proper public curiosity. It is the effort to explain everything from a summit conference to why, and I'm just going to continue on. The moon looks larger coming over the horizon than it does when it has fully risen in the heavens. It is the effort, too, to describe the lives of men and women, big and small, close at hand or thousands of miles away, familiar in their behaviors or unfamiliar in their idiosyncrasies. It is, to use the big word, the pursuit of and the effort to state the truth. Okay, so that was 2 long paragraphs. All of that just to say, what is good journalism all about? Abdur, you kind of said it already. What is she really reinforcing?
That they should tell the truth.
Yeah, like that is their overall duty, no matter what the topic is, right? She gives like large examples, she gives small examples, she gives things that we would consider really important, like the state and diplomacy and things like that, and then smaller things like daily lives and whatnot. So no matter what the story is about, they have this obligation to tell the truth and pursue the truth. So make sure you kind of notice both of those, the pursuit of truth. So it's their duty to kind of find it and then to share it with others. Okay. All right, last 2 paragraphs of the text. Okay, so here she's still focusing on the audience. No audience knows better than an audience of journalists that the pursuit of truth and the articulation of it is the most delicate, hazardous, exacting, and inexacting of tasks. Consequently, no audience is more forgiving, I hope, to the speaker who fails or stumbles in his own pursuit of it. The only failure the audience could never excuse in any speaker would be the failure to try to tell the truth as he sees it about his subject. I might argue for me that this felt like the most important paragraph of the whole speech. Well, not the whole speech, the whole introduction to the speech. But what do you guys think that she's saying here about the pursuit of truth? Oh, hi, Des.
Hi.
Go ahead and take a minute to look back over your notes if you need to, but what is she really saying in this paragraph? I think it's a pretty crucial shift about pursuing truth.
It's the no audience one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So this one right here. And remember, it builds off of that previous paragraph where you guys are saying good journalism is all about pursuing the truth. But is pursuing the truth easy always?
No.
No, it's not.
No.
Right? So she says it's a delicate task, it's a hazardous task, it's exacting, exact. Sometimes it might be hard to figure out the truth, right? There's so many perspectives and sides to a story, and to really get the facts, it might be difficult. So then she goes into this point where she's saying, like, hopefully journalists also recognize that, right? Journalists know how hard it is to find the truth. So they can forgive people. They can forgive someone who fails in their pursuit of the truth, right? If they make a mistake and they're not perfectly understanding the truth, that's okay, as long as they
Aren't lying
aren't like intentionally lying,
or like
right?
masking the truth.
Yeah. So this is where this is like the most important line here. The only failure this audience could never excuse would be the failure to try to tell the truth. So if they're intentionally lying, intentionally sensationalizing something, that's one thing that journalists can't forgive or shouldn't forgive. But sometimes it can just be a little messy and hard to tell the truth, and maybe you might have misinterpreted something. But we should always be trying is kind of the main point there. So I don't know if you want to like really hone in on that as a really important key piece to help you come up with that overall purpose. But yeah, she says like we all have this obligation to always at least try, and we should recognize everybody trying. Okay, and then she ends her introduction with this. All right, in my perilous but earnest effort to do so here tonight, I must begin by saying, if there is much that is wrong with the American press, there is also much that is right with it. I know then that you will bear with me, much as it may go against your professional grain, if I ask you to accept some of the good with the bad, even though it may not make for such good copy for your newspapers. For the plain fact is that the U.S. daily press today is not inspiringly good, it is just far and away the best press in the world. That's a good ending to an intro, I think. Okay. All right, so here she is. She says today she's trying to tell the truth, okay? But now we kind of have like a shift in tone a little bit. It went from this like very strong, like, don't ever forgive anyone who's not trying to tell the truth, kind of negative, to now it's switching to a little bit positive. What is she saying now here that's kind of positive to end with? What do you guys think?
Oh, that there's right and wrong. That you have to look at the good side of. Hold on.
Yeah, you got it up there.
Yeah, you have to look at the good as much as the bad.
Mm-hmm. So even though there's these bad aspects of journalism, which she's about to talk about, right? She hasn't really got into it yet, but she's about to go on to tell them, like, don't sensationalize stories. There's still good aspects of journalism too, and they're doing a lot of things well, and they're doing a lot of things right. Any other positive things you notice? Any particular lines that stand out as very positive?
She says, like, then you will, like, bear with me, like, we're, like, and then, like, accept some of the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it might not be good for newspapers, it's kind of like.
Perfect. So their natural instinct as journalists is to focus in on like,
Mm-hmm.
like that truth or like these bad things that she's about to talk about.
Yeah.
But she's also telling them, okay, like hold back on that a little bit to also be able to acknowledge like the positive things about the press too.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else think there's a particularly positive line?
I mean, the last one.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, what does she tell them?
Like it's just far and away the best person in the world.
Best press in the world. That's a pretty big compliment, right? That's pretty positive.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's like, we're not inspiringly good. We're not perfect all the time. We're not like, we definitely, she's about to criticize them, remember. But she's still saying like, we're the best press in the world. Okay. So I just wanted you to hone in on that because obviously the way she's ending it there, right before she's about to go in and criticize them, that might be a pretty important rhetorical choice. Because she's kind of ending it, we're the best in the world, even though now she's going to go on and tell them what's wrong with them. So that might be a particularly good one to do. Okay, so what do you think? And remember, when we think about this overall purpose here, you might need to adjust it. Again, don't retype it here on this document. You can just type it on your other document. But what do you think her overall purpose for the introduction was? What do you think she was trying to do with this whole introduction to her criticism?
Prepare them for the criticism.
Yeah, and why do you think she needs to prepare them? Why would she need to do that?
Because it's a hard task, because she could easily like hurt someone's, or like
Yeah, no, Abdur, you're totally right. I want to push you guys on that. So it is a hard task to criticize someone because you might just like hurt their feelings. And why doesn't she want to just hurt their feelings? What does she want to do with her criticism ultimately? Why do you think she wants, or why do you think they wanted this criticism in the first place? What do they want to do with that criticism eventually?
Turn into the truth. Like shape this phone.
Well, we can go back to the prompt here to see, okay, so she was criticizing, she's about to criticize their tendency to sacrifice the truth for this sensational, we need sensationalized stories, exciting stories that are going to grab attention and things like that. So she's about to criticize them for that. And why is she going to criticize them for that? What does she, or maybe journalists in general, ultimately want to do?
It's like put out a good story.
Sorry, what did you say?
Put out like a good story.
Not just put out a good story, right? Because that's what some of them are doing. They're sacrificing truth to put out a good story. Think about anytime when somebody criticizes you, like you're doing something wrong. Why do they criticize you? What do they want you to do?
So you can fix it.
There you go. Okay, so she's about to criticize them, but ultimately, after criticizing them, she wants them to change their behaviors and stop sacrificing the truth for sensationalized stories, right? She wants them to prioritize the truth. So she has to prepare them to receive criticism if they're going to actually listen to it and improve upon it. If you just criticize someone like rudely, then they might not change their behavior or fix their behavior. But if you sort of set somebody up for that criticism and prepare them for it, then they might listen and change and grow and get better. Yeah. So if we think about her purpose here for the introduction, it's to set them up so that they're willing to listen to that criticism and fix and grow from it. Okay. Because if we think about how she prepared them, oops, what am I doing here? Sorry, guys. My mouse goes crazy sometimes. I mean, what were some of the ways you noticed? If we start to get into rhetoric now, what were some of the ways that you noticed her preparing them in this introduction?
She compared what a good journalist would look like to how they act, or like the bad journalists look like.
Absolutely. She talked a lot about like what good journalism is all about. So a couple rhetorical strategies that might include, number one, definition. She's defining good journalism. Number two, she really, and I would say that she does this a lot throughout the text, is she appeals to the morals of her audience, right? Her audience is journalists, and she uses her morals for them, right? Like they have this duty, this obligation to prioritize and pursue the truth. That's what good journalism is. That's why you're in this business. So stick with that. So appeal to morals or ethics, I think, would be a huge one you see throughout this, and definitely definition of journalism too. Anything else you guys noticed that you saw a lot of throughout the text? Remember at the end we talked a lot about positive, right?
Oh, shit, the tone.
So what is she doing to them at the end by saying all these positive things? Instead of criticizing them, she's what?
Complimenting them.
What's that?
Complimenting them.
Yeah, compliments. Oh my gosh, what a rhetorical strategy. Okay. So remember that a rhetorical choice or rhetorical strategy doesn't have to be some fancy name. We're not looking for anaphora or asyndeton. We're looking at how is she persuading them, and how she's doing it is she is complimenting them. She does it throughout the text. Like you see her compliment or praise them in certain ways. So that might be another good one. She shared her feelings. So that might be another one you talk, that might be another one you think about, sharing her feelings. Anything else? Georgie. Okay, let me point you guys to one in particular that maybe you'll see. So in this part, when she's talking about good journalism, and she's talking about no matter how big, no matter how small, journalists still have this obligation to pursue the truth. What sort of rhetorical choice do you notice when it's like big or small?
Antithesis.
Antithesis or juxtaposition. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be another one you could discuss if you want to. Okay. So yeah, and you can go beyond. You don't have to just use these ones. And remember, you only need to choose a minimum of 3 for your rhetorical analysis essay. So feel free to just pick 3 in your thesis. There's nothing wrong with doing just that. Just make sure that if you're only doing 3, they are the 3 like significant ones. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead then and jump into your task for today. I'm just going to sort of go over the directions and what I provided to you on the document. So your notes here on how to write the intro and body paragraph, I copied directly from your rhetorical analysis, like how to PowerPoint and notes that you guys have already taken in class. And if you happen to have your binders with you at home, you would have these there. Does anyone need to mute their mic for a second, just so we... All right, so in your introduction, that's where you're setting up the rhetorical situation. So start with what the prompt gave you, but now you want to go beyond that and talk about like the additional context you learned after reading. Okay, you know more about her and the audience and the time period just from that initial reading of the text, so you can go beyond that. Okay, the author's purpose is the most important part, so we just spoke about that a lot in depth, how she's preparing them for her criticism so that they'll actually listen to it and improve and grow as journalists and continue to prioritize the truth. And then you want to make sure you end with your thesis statement. Okay. So I also put for you here a sample. You guys have actually already looked at this sample before, but I just wanted you to have it for reference, and I kind of color coded it for you. So here you can see the context that's given in the beginning. So you have all of the letters of space right here. In blue, you have that space. And then you have purpose kind of separate in two different places because it's kind of part of the space, but it's also part of your thesis because that's why they're using the rhetorical choices. And then you can see their thesis here. So you would say something like Luce employs da 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 in order to prepare the audience for her criticism. Okay, so pick whichever three that you want to do. Okay, and then for your body paragraph, again, it's those same 5 steps that you've always been practicing in your Lang-Gang journals. Okay, start by acknowledging the part of the text that you're looking at. So again, if you want to start with just the very beginning, okay, she opens her introduction by saying yada, yada, yada. Okay, or if you want to focus on the end, if you really liked that last part of the speech, she ends her speech, or ends the introduction of her speech by saying blah, 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 blah. Okay. Then you need to make sure that you are, so here in purple, identifying a specific rhetorical choice and weaving in quotes to demonstrate it. Okay, then you'll have to analyze why she made that particular choice. How does it tie back to her purpose? Okay, and how does it impact the audience? So again, I wanted you to just be able to see that in a model. You kind of see like it's broken up throughout. You see quotes throughout the paragraph. You see analysis throughout the paragraph. If that's a little intimidating for you to do, you can always just go exactly in this order. That's easier for you. It's totally up to you what feels a little bit more comfortable. You just want to make sure that you've done all 5 of these things. Okay. The last thing I really want to hone in on, what do we want to make sure we are using when we are analyzing effectively? How do we know we're really analyzing why an author makes a choice and how it impacts the audience? We're using very strong
Verbs.
Verbs. Thank you, Abdur. Okay. So remember those rhetorical analysis verbs, and you can kind of see that within this sample paragraph. Okay, so she opens the letter with "My dear son" to establish that she does not intend to scold, but to guide. So again, even in thinking about Luce's speech, the one you guys are analyzing, using words like praise or instill a sense in our audience, appeal, like you want to use those strong verbs to make sure you're showing your analysis. Okay. Ooh, here's another good verb, legitimize. Okay, assure. See, great verbs all day. Okay. So again, you're going to type both your paragraphs in this box below. And then whenever you are finished, you will click on this link here. It'll take you right to turnitin.com and you will copy and paste your response there. Do not upload the file because it's going to tell me you plagiarized because all of you have all the same stuff on your file. So I just want you to copy and paste the paragraphs. Okay. What questions do you guys still have about the text for the test? Any questions about your intro or body paragraph? Oh, hi, Julia. I didn't see you. My screen shares.
Khalil's in here. Khalil, turn your mic on.
Khalil? What?
Yeah, Khalil. That's his name.
Is that what you call him?
Yeah, that's his name. That's his real name.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay. So my biggest piece of advice would be to try this out now that we've gone through the text together. Try out your 2 paragraphs and on your own. And if you feel like you're not sure if it's effective or not, guess what? I have office hours today from 1 to 2 p.m. You can share your screen with me by clicking on the share screen button, and I can even look at your work, help you edit it, all of that, so you make sure you're doing a good job. Cool?
Cool.
Cool.
All right, and if you end up having extra time, then you can start reading your book, because tomorrow, remember, tomorrow's class is going to be to finish reading your book. And we're going to wear our Agua Fria swag tomorrow, so Owl Pride and Reading Pride.
Wait, so what do we have to turn in for like the book tomorrow?
You're just going to fill out a quick Google form question about it.
Oh, okay.
Because I want you to spend, the majority of your time reading, because I know that some people have a little bit of reading to do. So you have spend an hour reading and then just submit your response when you're finished.
And then with the letter for that, is that also
Don't even worry about it. Don't do the letter yet. You guys have plenty of work to do right now. We're going to build, I'll even change that. I think I need to update that on Classroom because it still probably says on your Classroom that it's due. But your letter is not going to be due until next week, and it's going to be part of your classwork. So
Okay.
Like on Tuesday, we'll do an outline for the letter. On Wednesday, you'll start writing the letter, that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right, guys, make it a great Thursday. I will still be on tomorrow morning. We'll have a super short class. It'll be like 5 minutes just to talk about the books and filling out your Google form. But I will see you at office hours today. Wow, my teeth look kind of white.
What?
All right, guys, have a great day.
All right, bye, Miss Moon.
Bye.